They say monsters aren't real, but I've seen them. They don't hide in the dark. They live in mansions, wear custom suits, and hand out champagne like blessings. This is part 2 of our story. Cam told his side. Dre will speak when he's ready. But what happened to each of us inside that mansion? It wasn't the same. We weren't at the same party. We didn't see the same things. And whatever followed us out didn't come from the guest list. Me? I was the fun one, the wild one, the one who never said no. Always down for one more drink, one more room, one more story. But that night, I said yes to something I didn't understand. What he gave me was a drink, but it really was the devil's invitation. Spring break was always my season. I wasn't built for snow or silence. I needed motion, noise, something to chase. So when me, Cam, and Dre touched down in LA, I was already lit before we even hit baggage claim. We were 3 college athletes, faces clean, fits fresh, and no curfew. The kind of guys who didn't need to be famous to walk into VIP, just had to act like we belonged. And I knew how to belong anywhere. Cam was always the deep thinker, watching the angles. Dre, quiet giant, real, don't start none, won't be none energy. But me, I was the fuse, the one that made nights go somewhere. And this night was supposed to go crazy. We'd hit a rooftop lounge off Sunset, shoulder to shoulder, with people whose faces we'd seen online. The air smelled like perfume and bad decisions, and we were ready for both. Then he showed up, middle-aged, smooth, skin like polished stone. Didn't give a name, just a card, black, heavy, nothing on it but a silver address that shimmered like it was alive. "You ever been to a real party?" he asked. I didn't even need to look at Cam or Dre. I just grinned. We pulled up to the house just after midnight. Uber driver didn't say a word, didn't blink when the gate opened on its own, just dropped us off and dipped like he was late for church. The place looked like it was carved from ice, all white marble and cold light, perched on the edge of the hills like gravity didn't apply. I expected music, chaos, models in the pool, people on the roof. But it was quiet, way too quiet. Cam and Dre traded looks. I walked straight in. The house was spotless, not lived in, not loved, just preserved. The kind of clean that made your skin itch. Furniture that had never been sat on. Mirrors that looked a second too slow when you passed them. But the people, that's what hit me hardest. Too perfect. Faces like AI, eyes like static. They were whispering, all of them, but not to each other, just whispering, like the party wasn't for them. I loved it. This was the kind of weird that meant something was about to pop off. A man in black slid up, didn't speak, just handed me a crystal glass filled with gold liquid that moved like syrup. Cam held his. Dre passed. Me? I threw it back. Burned going down. Too sweet. Too intentional. Like it wasn't made to get you drunk. It was made to make you forget what sober feels like. The buzz hit fast, but weird. Euphoric, but hollow. Like my body was smiling, but my soul stepped back to watch. That's when I saw her, across the room in red, and she was looking straight at me. I've seen beautiful women. LA makes you numb to it. Models, dancers, actresses, all chasing their version of perfect. But this girl, she wasn't chasing anything. She was the finish line. Red dress, deep red like fresh blood on silk. Curves so clean they felt illegal. She didn't glow like a star. She glowed like heat. Like a temptation that didn't care if you knew it was wrong. She walked through that party like the house owed her rent. And I couldn't move. It was like gravity bent for her. Like the whispers in the room softened when she stepped near. I swear, even the music, if you could call that eerie hum music, shifted pitch when she passed. And then she was in front of me. No words, no name, just eyes. Her face didn't make sense. It was too perfect, but not in a fake way. Not makeup perfect, not filter perfect. It was like I dreamed her once and she remembered. She didn't ask me to dance, she just moved and I moved with her. The floor didn't exist anymore. It was just me, her, and the low pulse of whatever was inside this house. Her hands on my shoulders, her hips against mine, breath soft and close. Then she leaned in and licked my neck. Slow, cold, not playful, not sexy, just possession. I should have stepped back, should have said something, but I didn't. My whole body went still, not stiff, calm, like I'd finally stopped fighting gravity. And just as quick as it happened, she pulled back, smiled. That same eerie, endless smile. Then she took my hand, fingers soft, warm, confident, and said, "Come with me." She didn't drag me. She didn't seduce me. She just led. We walked past the bar, past the bodies pretending to be people, past rooms glowing with golden light, and headed straight toward a massive mirror, floor to ceiling, glistening, but old somehow, like it remembered things. That's when I paused. I looked into the mirror and saw myself. Only me, not her. She was standing right beside me, holding my hand. But in the reflection, I was alone. No smile, no movement, just me, staring back at me. But not really me. It was like I was watching from somewhere deeper. Like my soul hadn't followed. It was still standing there, trying to warn me. "Damn," I whispered. "I'm faded." But it didn't feel like being drunk. It felt like being watched. I looked back at her. She hadn't noticed or didn't care. Her grip tightened just a little. Then, without hesitation, she walked forward and pulled me straight into the mirror, like it wasn't glass at all. I was halfway through the mirror when I heard it. "Yo." Low, firm, not loud, but it cut through everything, like the sound was meant just for me. I turned around fast, still halfway in her grasp, still halfway high off that gold drink. And there he was, a man in a hoodie, standing in the hallway, like he'd been watching the whole time, like he'd been waiting for this exact moment. I recognized him, not because I knew him, but because I'd seen him earlier, alone by the window, staring out into nothing. Everyone else in the house looked polished, robotic, fake. He looked tired, real. And now here he was, blocking the hallway, eyes locked on mine. "Don't go in there," he said. "Keep your man card, no matter what they offer." I blinked. "What?" He stepped closer, voice still calm but intense, heavy with something I didn't understand yet. People think it's one big decision, one soul-selling moment. Nah, that's not how they take it. They don't rip it from you. They let you give it away, piece by piece. He pointed at the woman beside me, still smiling, still beautiful. "That's not temptation," he said. "That's the receipt." The hallway went quiet. Even the murmurs of the party faded behind us. I looked at him, then back at her. She leaned in close, closer than before, and whispered something in my ear. Her voice was like warm honey, sweet, thick, slow, like it dripped through my skull and rewrote what I was afraid of. I don't even know what she said, but it made everything else feel small. The man in the hoodie looked at me one last time, not angry, not even disappointed, just sad, like he already knew what I'd choose. And he turned, walked away. No more warnings. She tugged gently on my hand, and I followed her into the secret room behind the mirror. We stepped through the mirror and everything changed. The air was thick, not musty, intentional, like incense, weed, and something old, something metallic. The room glowed green, soft and low, like it was underwater. Velvet walls, plush furniture, no corners, just curves and music. Not bass, not trap, not even jazz. It was folk music, soft, stringy, strange. The kind of thing you'd expect to hear in a pub in Ireland where no one smiled in 50 years. It felt out of place, but not by accident. Like someone wanted me to feel off balance. Like the song was written for this exact moment and no one else could hear it. She let go of my hand and drifted across the room, slow and barefoot, like she was floating. She didn't say anything, just moved to a shelf built into the wall and pulled down a small glass bottle, poured me something clear. It hit the light like ice water, but the bottle was sweating, like it had a fever. She brought it to me and held it out with both hands, eyes locked on mine. No smile this time, just anticipation. I took it without a word. Smelled sharp, clean, bitter. I threw it back in one shot, burned like bleach. Tasted like memory loss. I coughed once, eyes watering, but I smirked through it. Y'all got anything stronger? That's when she smiled again. Not sexy, not sweet, satisfied. Like I just passed a test I didn't know I was taking. She stepped in close, pressed her fingers to my chest, and leaned into my ear. "I've got just the shot for you," she whispered. Then she took my hand again, and we walked. Out of the green room, down a hallway I hadn't noticed before. Narrow, darker, colder. The air shifted from heavy to thin, like whatever was ahead didn't like to be breathed in. The lights here weren't green, they were red, but not glowing, pulsing, like veins. I looked back once. The green room was gone. No door, no entrance, just darkness. We kept walking, and I knew whatever was waiting at the end of this hall wasn't a drink. The hallway ended with a door unlike any other in the house. Not gold, not glass, just matte black with a single crimson dot pulsing dead center, like it was alive and keeping rhythm with a heartbeat I couldn't hear. She stopped, kissed my cheek, whispered, "He's ready." The door hissed open. The room inside. It was beautiful and horrifying, sleek, spotless. Walls made of black mirror and obsidian. Lights low, soft white, embedded in the floor like stars trapped under glass. Screens with waveforms flickered along one wall. Silent visuals of sound, frozen mid-beat. It looked like a recording studio designed by Lucifer himself. And in the center, Diddy. He stood there like he owned gravity. All black, no chains, no flex. Just that eerie calm, like he wasn't trying to impress me, because he didn't have to. He turned as I stepped in, smiling like he already knew how the night would end. "Tyrese," he said, "you got rhythm in your blood. I knew it the second you walked in." I tried to respond, but my throat felt tight, dry. He walked slowly toward me, voice smooth like silk pulled tight over a knife. "Music is the first language. You know that, right? Before words, before war, there was sound, rhythm, vibration." He gestured around us, hands open like a preacher in front of his congregation. Music makes people feel like family. It makes them obey without force. It's the only thing that can make billions of people move together without ever touching. He stepped aside and pointed toward the center of the room. That's when I saw it. A chamber, sealed in glass, surrounded by wires, symbols etched along the frame like glowing scars. It breathed. The chamber breathed. In and out, slow and steady. And inside it, something. Tall, thin, almost human, but not quite. Skin like polished ash, eyes closed, mouth slightly open. Veins visible beneath translucent skin, glowing faintly red, pulsing in rhythm with the beat no one else could hear. It wasn't dead. It was waiting. I took a step back, but Diddy smiled wider. "This is who we answer to," he said. "The true king." His voice got lower, reverent. "People think my parties are just about wild nights, pleasure, indulgence, but that's the gateway. That's the music's gift. The moment you forget your name, forget your shame, and open yourself completely, that's when he feeds." He reached behind him to a small table, picked up a glass. Inside it was a liquid darker than blood, thicker than oil. It shimmered, subtly alive, like it didn't want to be held. He handed it to me. "This is from him," Diddy said. "One drop, and the game changes forever." I stared at it. The room got quieter. And that's when I noticed there were others. Around the edges of the chamber, people knelt, some crying, some whispering in tongues, some rocking back and forth, eyes rolled back. A man in a designer coat was face down, sobbing. A woman in red lace was swaying like she was possessed. They were worshiping. Not Diddy. Drink, he said again, this time firmer. I looked down at the glass. It pulsed in my hand. I could feel it trying to enter me without even touching my lips. Something pressed against my chest. Not a hand, not a voice, just weight. My knees buckled, my vision blurred. The presence inside the chamber. It opened its eyes. Red. No pupils. No whites. Just red. And suddenly I couldn't breathe. My soul. It felt like it wasn't mine anymore. Like it had been handed over, signed away. And this was the final step. Not the start of something. The end. The silence roared in my ears. I felt the tears coming before I knew I was crying. He kept staring. Diddy. The others. The thing in the glass. And I realized they weren't offering me anything. They were waiting for me to surrender. I don't know how long I stood there holding that glass. It was heavy, like it had a heartbeat, like it was aware of me. The thing in the chamber kept breathing slow, like it didn't need to feed, just wait, like it knew I'd cave eventually. Everyone else in the room was gone, mentally, chanting, crying, on their knees, lost in the presence. And Diddy, he just watched, calm, like this was just another Friday. I looked down at the drink again, dark, thick, moving inside the glass like it was alive. I wasn't sure anymore if it was fear making me tremble or whatever was inside wanting me to. My lips parted. I almost drank it. But then I whispered, not loud, not desperate, just enough. God, if you're still with me, give me a way out. Nothing happened at first, just silence. And then, Tyrese, clear, real, loud, Cam's voice, cut through everything like a blade. My head snapped up. That voice didn't come from the demon. It didn't come from Diddy. It came from outside the room. The trance broke. The pressure snapped. My knees nearly gave out. I looked around like I'd just woken up in a stranger's bed. Diddy stared at me, still calm. But there was disappointment in his eyes now, like I'd fumbled something that wasn't even mine yet. You sure? He asked quietly. I didn't answer. I dropped the glass. It shattered on the floor, and for a split second, I thought I saw it bleed. The chamber twitched. The thing inside stirred, its head turning, slowly, like it was finally paying attention. I turned and ran. I didn't wait for the hallway to shift, didn't wait for the shadows to whisper my name again. I just moved. The walls blurred, lights flickered. The Irish music from the green room came back, this time warped like it was playing backward. And then a door, glass, familiar. I pushed through, and there he was, camera in the doorway, eyes wide, breathing heavy, like he'd been looking for me. He stared at me for a second like he didn't even recognize me. Yo, what the hell? I'm good, I said fast. Let's go. He didn't ask questions, just nodded. I didn't look back. We hit the hallway moving fast. The house didn't try to stop us. It just watched. We stepped out into the cold night air like we'd been reborn. And there was Dre standing on the curb, calm, too calm, already calling an Uber. He looked at us, smiled faintly. Y'all ready? But he didn't look all the way there. And in that moment, I realized something. The mirror, the chamber, that whole room, it wasn't deep in the mansion. It was just a room. Cam found it. He opened the door. To him, it was just another hallway. But to me, it was a portal. Dre was already outside, just standing there, calm, too calm, arms crossed, hoodie up, eyes low. He looked at us like he'd been waiting, but not worried, like he already knew we'd make it out, or that it didn't matter if we did. Y'all ready? He asked. Cam gave a tight nod. I just stared at him for a second. Something in his face was off, not wrong, just distant, like he was still in that house, like part of him never left. But I didn't say anything. None of us did. We got in the Uber, and the mansion behind us vanished like a dream you forget halfway through the day. No lights, no gate, just gone. But what happened in there, that stayed with me. Back home, I tried to act like everything was normal, but I wasn't built for pretending. The dreams came fast, always the same. That room, that chamber, that thing in the glass. I'd wake up sweating, lungs tight, like I was still being watched. Sometimes I'd look in the mirror and see her, the woman in red, standing behind me. Other times, I'd wake up with the taste of blood in my mouth. No explanation, no injury, just red on my tongue. And I started drinking, not to forget, to feel it again. That moment in the chamber, when the world went quiet, and I felt like something ancient was breathing, just for me. I started chasing that, but nothing touched it. Not weed, not pills, not sex, not even the bottom of the bottle. I dropped out of school within 2 months, stopped going to practice, ghosted everyone who didn't already think I was crazy, lost track of Cam and Dre. I was too embarrassed, too confused, too far gone, became a ghost in my own city, woke up in places I didn't remember walking into, bar bathrooms, random couches, one time in a church pew with a nosebleed. I was chasing something I told myself I escaped, but deep down I knew better. I wasn't saved, I was released, and not for my benefit, for theirs. I think they let me walk away because they knew the seed was already planted. That curiosity, that pull, that was the real ritual. Because once you look inside that chamber, once you feel what it's like to stand in the presence of a God that doesn't need prayers, you want it back, even if you hate yourself for it, even if it kills you. That's why I'm telling this story now. Because I don't think the invitation ever expired, and I don't think they really wanted my answer that night. They just wanted me marked. That drink had blood in it, real blood. I said no, but they never asked twice. They just smiled, like they already knew I'd be back.